Hey guys, welcome back to the Crit Hit Wild cast. This week, I'm Jared, your host as always, joined by Brad. How you doing, Brad?
Good.
Good. We have a special guest this week. He's a guy, swell fella. You probably have seen him in the comment sections on several of our videos, but it's our good friend Borka. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, so we are changing a little bit of how we're kind of doing the podcast. We're going to have a little bit more added to it. So there may be slightly more than just your standard character review. But one of the things we're going to start with is news and announcements. So one of the things I am proud to say is that we are now hosting the Journey Through Limbo podcast run by our good friend Justy. So if you guys haven't checked that out if you're subscribed on Spotify or Google Podcasts or any of that, under Crit Hit Wild, you should be able to find the Journey Through Limbo episodes. It's a very good podcast that they're doing, kind of going in with a pre-constructed roster and breaking down each of the choices in it, kind of going over why they made those choices and just giving a full rundown of it. So it's pretty good. I recommend that you guys check it out. And you say hi to Justy, let him know that we sent you over there. So, in other news and announcements, we're going to let Brad talk a little bit about Cerebro. Do you have any kind of updates on anything for Cerebro or anything that you're doing with it currently?
I guess a little bit. Just in case people didn't see, the characters and tactics cards now have tags, and they're searchable. So on the search options, you can drop down the tags, and you can search for everyone who has a medium move, or more importantly, a long move. People who have throws of any kind, stuff like that. So you can find those people that fit that niche that you need to fit. And I mean, that's the big thing that you might have missed that I added. Everything else I added recently is pretty obvious, like minimizing on the roster builder.
Yeah, so just to show you guys really quick, as always, we're using Cerebro to look at these cards, but right now I'm in the build section of Cerebro, so you just hit name, click tags, quick throw, and when we type in throw, we can get a breakdown of every single character in the game that can throw. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. You could even do things like poison. Now you can see all the characters who either are resistant to poison or cause poison via abilities. So it's just pretty cool ability. So good job, Brad.
Thanks.
All right. Well, kind of going into hobby talk. What have you guys worked on recently, hobby wise? What about you, Borka? You've been doing anything hobby wise recently?
Uh, as far as MCP, I put together Thanos and his big old chair, and I built Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf. So I'm working on half of Black Order, and then I've been painting some Necromunda and 40k Death Guard. But other than that, that's about all my hobby at the
Yes.
moment.
I'm finishing putting together. I have finally picked up Rogue and
Nice.
Gambit, so I'm gonna be putting them together. Probably it'll probably be tonight actually. But Brad, you paint some amazing yellows, and when I go to paint Rogue, I mean clearly I'm very basic, so I'm gonna be doing just the standard scheme for both Rogue and Gambit. But what's that paint that you use for yellows? It's like I don't
Okay.
know what it's called, but it's really good.
So for yellows and a couple other colors I do, and pretty much all my hairs, I picked up the Reaper paints. They have these triads where you get 3 paints in a pack, and some of them are themed so that you have a shade, a midtone, and a highlight. And I used a yellow triad from them. So the shade is called marigold yellow, the midtone is sun yellow, and then the highlight is lemon yellow. And you can buy those as a 3 pack. And I really like them. they're good for just general yellows. They're really good for glows, like my street lights use them. And I like Reaper paints. Like they're one of my favorite, whatever their formula is. It goes on real well.
I know they look really good. Like your toad
Yeah.
is very well done.
Thanks. I worked very hard on him.
All right. Well, did you have any other hobby stuff you've been working on, Brad?
I have not been working on hobby stuff. I picked up a little side hobby that has nothing to do with miniatures that has ate up some of my time recently. So,
All right.
looking forward to Electra and Shadowland Daredevil.
Yeah.
That'll be my next MCP hobby project.
One other news announcement that I did forget. We'll put it in the show notes below, but AMG, so we're recording this on Thursday the 31st. AMG just released an updated FAQ that has all the added affiliations, base sizes, all that stuff. So, like I said, we'll put that in the show notes. So feel free to check it out. But before we get started, kind of going over our review of Captain Marvel, I just want to say that if you guys aren't subscribed to either the podcast or the YouTube channel, please do that. Please give it a share. Any kind of support that we get that way is greatly appreciated. We try to have at least one weekly real-life game kind of posted per week on the YouTube channel, and then we always have our Saturday release of our podcast. So please give us a like, a subscribe, share it out, and just give us a shout wherever you're on social media. We very much appreciate it. But on to the main bulk of the cast. So today we have Borka on because we're going to be taking a look at Captain Marvel Carol Danvers. So quickly, just kind of going over a card as we kind of look at her. She's a 3/4/3 stat line. She has 6 stamina pool. She's a 4-threat character, size 2 medium move. She has your standard strike, so 5 dice, powered equal damage dealt. She has an energy blast, which is a range 4 energy attack that gives her 1 power after it's done. But the fun thing, we'll kind of get into this a little bit more, is she may reroll any number of attack dice for that attack. She also has a range 3 7 dice spender for rocket punch, cost 3 with a wild stagger effect. Now, if you're familiar with Captain Marvel, you know about her binary form. It used to cost more, but with the 1.5 changes, it now only costs 4 power, and that just adds 2 dice to all attack and defense rolls, which is really strong. You have Danvers Special, which costs 3, and that's her terrain or character throw, size 4 within 2, and it goes medium, and it has the energy absorption. Whenever this character is defending against energy, for each wild in the defense roll, they may change one of the attackers' crit hits or wilds to a blank, and she gains 1 power. And then finally, she has flight, immunity to incinerate poison, and no changes on her injured side. So, Captain Marvel, what do you guys think? We'll start with you, Borka. I know you played her quite a bit.
Yeah, I played her. I actually played her quite a bit with her old card, and I liked her. I started out with Avengers, so she was a good fit there, especially with Steve Rogers. It made a lot of her abilities a little more affordable. And then when She-Hulk came out, everybody who knows I played her A-Force pretty heavily, and she's a pretty good fit in A-Force at that time. But I really like her now with her new card. I think she kind of suffers. We talk about a lot who really good characters who are older, who don't see as much play just because there's so many new cool things coming out from AMG all the time that I think a lot of people get caught up in the new hotness. But her new card's great. The energy for defense I think is really nice. We've talked about that. Energy is kind of good. Energy defense is good to have now because a lot of there seems to be a lot of good energy attacks kind of slowly going out. It used to be Mystic, but now there's a lot of guys who have pretty good Mystic defense. So I think the premium on energy is nice. And then when you add energy absorption to that, she's really good against it. Not to mention binary form, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty silly. But yeah, she's got a good builder. Energy blast, like you touched on. I mean, in binary form, 6 dice with full rerolls is really strong, especially at range 4. The consistency of always getting energy, at least 1 energy from it, is nice. And then Rocket Punch is a good spender. Stagger is really strong. I love that she has a size 4 throw for characters and terrain. There's not a lot of good size 4 throws out there, and at 3, it's not terribly costed, especially when you consider she's, Avengers and then A Force, which both have pretty good abilities to help with energy. And then immunity incinerate is just, I think that's money. That's a really good immunity to have, and then especially immunity poison's good too, right? That's one that doesn't come up much. I played a game with Brad not too long ago and realized how nasty poison can be if you don't have a way to deal with it. So, yeah, I think she's got a great card. When it first got changed, I was running her, Steve, Black Panther, and Vision as like my core 16, and it was like 4 very good 4-point models that could do everything, and it was a good solid 16-point list. But yeah, I like her card a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit her just like the nail on the head. Her kit is just very good. She's can do a lot. She, like, not having a charge and stuff. I feel like every once in a while you do feel that. Not having any way to kind of speed your way across the field, but I mean, to your point for Energy Blast, the full rerolls is just it's so strong. It's so strong
Right.
in a game like this, and I doubly value her Danvers special now, being able to
Yeah.
displace very large characters, and it's a medium throw at that. So if you're throwing something
Right.
like a Hulk or Juggernaut, they just go forever far, and being able to do that. And I think here recently in a lot of characters that you see released, they don't. It seems like a lot of the throws you're either getting a terrain throw or you're getting a character throw, and not both.
hmm
So her having the access to both is really really good. But what do you think, Brad? I know you've played. I know you don't think you've played her too much, but I know that you've probably played
I've
against
played
her
her.
quite a bit.
I've played her a couple times. Played against her. It seems like a lot. And I don't know how I follow up on what Josh just said because like carry every part of the card because every part of the card is good. Like it's all good. She doesn't have any bad or unusable or unused, not unusable, but unused superpowers. She doesn't have any unused attacks. She'll do all of those. Getting extra dice on everything's good. Size 4 thirds good. Energy absorption is one of those weird abilities that is so good that I don't even bother attacking her with energy. It's
Right.
just not worth it, especially if she's in binary form. But there's not a bad thing on this card. It's
Yeah,
all amazing.
it is. It's really really good. I mean, I no, I don't. I think that she is clearly an amazing character, but I think that she really shines in things like a Steve leadership or
Yeah.
to Borka's point, just A Force stuff that can kind of really feed her power. What do you guys think
Yeah.
about the
You
splashability of her?
see, that's I'm sitting here looking at her and I'm like, she's so good. Why am I not splashing her? And why do I not see people splash her? And I think that's it. People want to binary form every turn.
Hmm.
And she needs to be somewhere where she can do that before she starts making attacks, preferably.
Yeah.
Yeah, binary is really good, and what I like is it stays up until she activates.
Yes, that
So
is
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
yeah, being able
Yeah.
to click that on and then not having to immediately go with her because she's sitting at that 565 is a good position. I think 4 is just it seems like it's a hard cost to splash right now because like Doctor Voodoo's so good and there's other, you know what I mean. So it's like if you're playing X-Men, you want Rogue, and then if you want
Yes.
to bring Voodoo, and then if you splash Danvers at that point, it's like it's a big chunk of your list. And
Yeah.
I think that's probably her biggest challenge for getting splash is just that there seems to be a lot of good 4s, but she is. I agree with Brad. She's really good.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're all kind of sitting fairly high on her. So I guess we'll kind of go over to the ratings. So we'll start with you,
Okay.
Brad. So on your standard
Do you want to
rating.
talk about her tactics card first?
Oh crap! Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that. All right. So reviewing her specific tactics cards, we have the Air Force, which is an unaffiliated card. And I feel like you don't see it too much, so I will kind of bleed this one a little bit. It's a War Machine or a Captain Marvel card. And you spend 3 to play this card at the end of their activation. The active character's controller activates War Machine or Captain Marvel, whichever one did not play this card before their turns end. So it's essentially a 3-cost follow me for only War Machine or Captain Marvel. So what do you guys think about this card? I'll send it over to you, Borka. I feel like you don't see this one a whole lot, but maybe with Shield coming out, I could see him playing Avengers. What do you think about it?
Yeah, is that a newer card? Did it come out with War Machine?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Captain America War Machine CP38.
Gotcha. Yeah, that probably has more to do with it not being seen a whole lot, because I think when War Machine hit, the changes hadn't gone into effect yet, so not as many people might have been looking at her. But no, because I think War Machine's a good 3-point, and he's got a nice place in like Sam Spam, and different Avenger lists. So anytime that you can get out of activation, or out of order, however you say that, I think is pretty strong. And both of them being able, that's 2 pretty good hitters. So being able to activate them like that one after another, I think if you're playing both those guys, it's definitely worth throwing in your 10 for sure.
Yeah, I think it's really good to maybe kind of secure a kill that you're really needing to get on a point, or maybe go get a key extract. It's also really good for the thing that probably sticks out to me the most is it's really good for priority control. I mean, it's the same thing that you see in Proxima and Corvus, right? Except it's in the form of a tactics card. So being able to take or retain prio, it seems like it's really strong. What do you think, Brad?
I mean, I can't believe this card's not getting played. If it must be people not playing War Machine, because War Machine, if you've got him in the list, you got her in the list, he can almost always pay for it. He's always got tons of power.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why you'd not want to take this card if you're playing both. Like,
That's what I say. Maybe
easy.
Shield. Yeah, I think he's affiliated with Shield. We just learned that recently, right?
Yeah.
So maybe she's a good 4th threat to be thrown into Shield. I mean, we'll have to wait and see kind of how that affiliation
And you
plays
can
out. But
play the initiative card on her, and she'll be.
oh yeah, no, you're right. So you could make her, yeah.
She could be affiliated too.
So maybe this has a place maybe in that affiliation. One thing that does stick out to me, which I just kind of noticed, is that there's no range on it, which is that's always really strong when you're not kind of pigeonholed into a certain part of the board. So
maybe Sam players out there should consider her for their Sam rosters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And play this card.
Maybe. All right, well, so now we can get to the rating of Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers. So we'll start with you, Borka. What do you think that you would give old Carol here in the current meta?
You said S through F tier. Is that correct?
Yep. We typically stick through A, but there's some S characters coming up fast, I think, in the core set. So we're going to expand a little bit.
Gotcha. No, I think she's an A. For all the reasons we said. I think if you just stand on her own as a 4-point model, I think she's completely playable. And then if you can find room for her in your roster, she doesn't do anything bad. So it's like all she brings is good defense, good hitting, a good throw. It's like she brings everything you want a character to bring. So I think she's definitely A tier. No, I would say that S tiers are like auto takes. So A tiers I think are like always playable. You know what I mean? You can always take them, and it's not going to hurt your roster at all. So I think she's definitely A tier.
Gotcha. What do you think, Brad?
See, I came into this thinking B plus. She's good. She's real good, but she's just not seeing that play outside of her factions that you'd expect an A character to have.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say besides that.
So you're sitting on a B plus. B plus.
B
okay.
plus. B plus is still good.
You're right. I mean, I do think that she is not super splashable. Even then, within her affiliation, so Avengers and A-Force, I think that she's very much an A. I think that she's clearly an A tier. Overall, in the state of the game, I do think in it, I played her quite a bit. I think that a lot of the times I see myself either turreting from a back point, and if you're not able to do that, you have to like walk, you get one attack, and then maybe you get a throw. Sometimes it is tricky to do binary form and a Danvers special, because unless you've been hit, sometimes you're a little hard on the power to do both, and you kind of very clearly want to do both, which is why when she can do both in those affiliations, she's, like I said, she's very much an A. But I think in the overall state of the game, I might kind of go with Brad and give her a B plus. I think, just because she, like I said, she's not being splashed too much outside of some affiliations, and kind of you can get some awkward activations with her. I'll say every once in a while. So B plus for me, I think.
Yeah, I think those are all definitely good points. I see them for sure.
But to your point, 100%. If you're playing her in A-Force or you're playing her Avengers, for everybody at home, I mean, you're gonna get your money's worth. Like, she's 100% an A character all the way. Her card just reeks of A. There's just a couple nuances for me that put her in B plus, but she's a great character. So, so kind of moving on into next segment, which is a little bit newer. What we're gonna be doing is not building a full roster necessarily, but if you're kind of looking to play Captain Marvel and you want maybe a place to start, we might have a couple starting recommendations for you. So both myself and Borka have two different affiliations to kind of give you an idea of what you can build around with her. And I'm going to start. I'll start with a little bit more of a fun one, and that's taking her in Dormammu. So one of the things that you could look at if you're building her is with Dormammu, you get that extra power every turn. So a lot of times, depending on the scenario that you're playing, sometimes you can just get an advance into an energy blast, auto-generate yourself one power, go to 2, and then the next, well, actually go to 3. And then the next turn, you can binary form, and then if you're able to double energy blast, you'll be set up for binary form for the rest of the game, so long as you're not having to do too many rocket punches or Danvers specials, you should be good to go. So I like her a lot in Dormammu. I've played her pretty frequently. So if that's something that might interest you guys, a place that you could start is maybe Dormammu. Captain Marvel, I would recommend Rogue, who's also very good with Dormammu, and then Baron Zemo. So those are some 4 good characters to kind of start a core of that affiliation with. And from there, if you want to build out, you could build out what I would recommend as a second affiliation. So if you have Captain Marvel, you could go maybe an Avengers route, which gives you 6 characters to kind of build the rest of it around. Maybe pick a few that might go with Dormammu a little bit better, but definitely Steve, I think, is a second leader in the affiliation because she really loves the kind of power economy that he provides. Both leaders provide her very good power economy to get into binary form. So Dark Dimension, like I said, with Captain Marvel, and then Rogue and Baron Zemo as kind of like a core starter for you, and then you can build out from there. And a couple crises I would recommend are actually Deadly Meteors, because both Dormammu and Captain Marvel sitting at 4 energy defense makes it very likely that you're going to get those triggers when trying to take that secure. And also Demons Downtown, having 2 characters in that kind of 4 core there that are immune to Incinerate gives you a pretty stark advantage on that scenario. And then her also having the back demon portal to kind of just binary form and then turret people that go for the center with her 6 dice energy blast with reroll any number is very strong. I don't see a whole lot of extracts that Captain Marvel really kind of excels at. She definitely seems to me like she's really a good secure piece. So. But that's my recommendation. Dark Dimension, Deadly Meteors, Demons Downtown. Try that out. I've played it. I think it's a lot of fun. She does really well in there. So,
she is pretty good with a hammer.
Yeah. Yeah. You're correct. Yeah, you're not wrong there. Yeah. What is it? Fear Grips World. That would be a good one if you need an extract for that roster. So there's a good base build for you guys if you want to kind of try her out in that route. What do you have, Borka, to bring Captain Marvel in?
So I played a lot of A Force for a while, and that's what I went with A Force. So of course you got to take She-Hulk herself to get it started, and then Captain Marvel for all the reason we've talked about. But also, Special Delivery is an amazing card, and Danvers being able to fly gives you a nice 4 point option to pick She-Hulk up and drop her off medium plus, I think, what, one or two. And so she can really get in there and start fighting pretty quick. And then, Marvel's tough enough that she can stand next to She-Hulk and, they can battle pretty good together. And then probably Valkyrie in A Force. So that gives you a nice 13 point core to build off of from that point. Um, of course, I love Black Panther and Wakanda. So I typically, when I run A Force, it'll be a combination of A Force and Wakanda. So that core of She Hulk, Captain Marvel, Valkyrie, and then something like Domino, Shuri, Okoye, and Black Panther. They're all, all but Black Panther are A Force. And then when you have Shuri and Okoye, them and She Hulk, them and Captain Marvel. It gives you a lot of versatility between the two.
Yeah, 100%. What kind of crises do you think you would take
And
in a
then,
roster like that?
but yeah, Special Delivery, that's the big one. And then you could add, Doctor Voodoo for that, and that'd give you a really good 8. Angela is also really good in A Force, but she kind of fills the same role as Captain Marvel does there. And then one other card I like with her is No Matter the Cost, because you can pay the 3 to do her rocket punch for free.
Yeah,
And that rocket punch having a range of 3 is actually pretty good to help kind of make up cover some of that ground that we talked about where she doesn't have that charge. Sometimes she can, like you said, become a little bit of a turret. So being able to, shoot at range 4, shoot at range 4, and then if somebody gets a little closer, you can then rocket punch and then, hopefully get that stagger, which gets real nasty when she's in binary. And then Gamma, I think, is a great
yeah.
setup for them, being able to drop She-Hulk right down the middle, backed up by, Captain Marvel in the middle, and then also for those same reasons. And like you said, I think Demon Downtown is great because she's immune to incinerate, and it's right down the gut there. So
And A
that
Force
would be
likes
my
to.
kind of my starting core of 8. Those 7 A Force, Panther, and then Voodoo, and then that leaves you 2 slots to kind of add to taste.
What do you think about Terrigen?
What was that?
What do you think about Terrigen Clouds?
Well, she's immune to poison, so that's probably not bad at all. Um,
Is Rogue affiliated?
I don't think Rogue is A Force, is she?
Let me.
She's also immune to poison, so.
Oh, that's not how you spell Rogue.
And then you have 2 Inhumans.
No, she's not. Brotherhood of Mutants and Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, you and I tried Crystal and Medusa back when I played A Force. I never had the success with Medusa that the rest of the world seemed to have, so I was never really high on her. And then when they made the tweaks to her card, it just kind of killed me. Wanted to mess with her very much, but I know a lot of people swear by Medusa. She can be pretty good.
All right, well, there's a couple starting points for you guys. If you're kind of wanting to build a roster with Captain Marvel in it, a couple suggestions. So that wraps us up for our Captain Marvel kind of review and a little bit of a roster build there. So we'll kind of move on to comics. What do you have for us, Brad, for comics with Carol?
I have several suggestions this time. I've actually read a lot more Carol Danvers than I thought. So I put these in chronological order this time. It feels like I pick a different random order every time, but the first recommendation I have is her first solo series from 1977 when she was Miss Marvel, and that leads into Avengers Annual number 10. So this is by Chris Claremont and Jerry Conway for the series. And then the annual is Chris Claremont again, and then Michael Golden. It's her becoming a superhero. Chris Claremont invented her. He kind of modeled her after his pilot mom, and so she kind of means a lot to him. So he writes the heck out of her. This is also where Mystique first shows up. And then Avengers Annual number 10 is where Rogue steals her powers and she becomes depowered.
Oh, okay.
So that whole series and the annual is a good full story. But my next suggestion is when Chris Claremont then started writing X-Men, he brought her over and continued telling Carol Danvers' story in X-Men. And that happens mostly between Uncanny X-Men 163 and 171. The artist for most of this is Paul Smith. So he brings depowered Carol in. She ends up going to space and getting some new powers. And this is where her binary form comes from. You can't go wrong with Claremont X-Men. They're going to be good issues. In fact, I'll probably be recommending a lot of Claremont X-Men when we get to X-Men characters. But I thought this was an appropriate story for the cast because binary form, this is where she gets it. She leaves the book when they let Rogue join the team because, you know, Rogue killed her in a sense.
Yeah.
Took away all her memories. The next is, we're going to skip from the 80s. That might even be the 70s. All the way to 2014 for the Captain Marvel solo. It's by Kelly Sue DeConnick and David Lopez. This is where her and Rhodey start dating. And the first story is there's a planet full of sick people, and she is trying to save them. I've not personally read this one, but it was when I was doing some research just to remind myself of her stories and stuff. It was on a bunch of top Captain Marvel stories, so probably a good one.
Oh, nice.
And then the last one is a series I have read, Captain Marvel series from 2016. It's written by Michelle Fazekas and Tara Butters, artist Chris Anka, which you can't go wrong with Chris Anka art. This is where Captain Marvel is put in charge of the space station and space program Alpha Flight. The first 5 issues, great. After that, it becomes part of a crossover. Her issues, the individual issues for the series, aren't bad, but it's a bad crossover. It's Civil War II. It is really bad. But this series is good, so I think it's worth a read anyway.
All right. Well, it sounds like she's got a lot of good stuff to check out.
She does. She's a good character.
I'm going to assume that you can find all these on Marvel Unlimited, right?
Yes. I did not double check that, but these should all be on there.
I feel like we're going to mention Marvel Unlimited enough times to where
what?
They should sponsor us.
Yeah, they really should. I admit the Miss Marvel series, the original series, it might not be on there. But the rest should be. So you got at least 3 recommendations that will be on there.
All right. Well, thank you guys. If you made it to the end of this, thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us for a little bit. Borka, thank you very much for coming on and talking about Carol for a little while.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, until next week, I guess we'll see you guys in the next one. So have a good one, guys. And remember, if you aren't subscribed, give us a sub, give us a like, and kind of just share us around. We'd appreciate it. But thank you guys very much. Until next time. Bye.